Should you buy a used Tesla Model 3 in August 2023? Yeah, it's time for another used market review. The last one was on the Nissan Leaf, and if you didn't manage to catch that, there's a link in the description, so you should definitely go and watch it after you watch this. The EV used market is extremely attractive to buyers at the moment. A return to used cars actually depreciating means that there's some real bargains out there to be had. There's a strong rhetoric around at the moment about, oh, it's so horrendous, these EVs are losing so much money. Well, actually, mostly from the same people that a few months ago were moaning about them being far too expensive. I say it's a great time to pick up a used bargain. As if it needs any introduction whatsoever, the Tesla Model 3 was introduced to the UK market in June 2019. The first mass market Tesla model. We're not talking about an expensive niche here like the Model S or the Model X, but a model for the masses. Squarely going after your BMW 3 Series, your Audi A4, your sort of company car drivers, but those with a little bit more generous allowance. The Standard Range Plus started at £38,900 back then, after the government's £3,500 plug-in car grant that it was eligible for. The Performance, with its rip-roaring 3.2 second 0 to 60 time, was £56,900. The model range is pretty simple, especially when compared to other brands. Standard Range Plus is the base model rear-wheel drive version with a 60 kilowatt-hour battery. When we're looking at older cars, the long range is all-wheel drive with a 75 kilowatt-hour battery. There is a rear-wheel drive long range now, but this wasn't available when the Model 3 first launched. And the Performance is all-wheel drive with the same 75 kilowatt-hour battery as the long range, but with that higher power output. There aren't too many options on top of that. You can choose the paint colour, you can choose a white leather interior instead of the standard black. A tow bar is about as far as the rest of the option list go. There really isn't much to choose from here. Apparently a tow bar can't be added when it's new. At least Tesla tell you. I don't know if there's some aftermarket fitters out there that will do it, but Tesla themselves say a tow bar must be specified when it's new. So if that's an option you're looking for, you'll definitely need to keep an eye out for that on the used market. One of the other very few options are Enhanced Autopilot or Full Self-Driving. Enhanced Autopilot is a £3,400 option that gives you Navigate on Autopilot and Auto Lane Change. Coming soon, according to the Tesla website, is Auto Park, Summon and Smart Summon. I think I'm going to need someone with a Tesla here to explain these features a bit better in the comments, because I'm not really an expert on what these options mean, and I don't want to give you the wrong impression about what they're actually for. So if you've got a Tesla and you want to explain these to everybody, get yourself in the comments. Full Self-Driving is a £6,800 option, and it adds traffic light and stop sign control to Enhanced Autopilot. But of course there's much more to Full Self-Driving going forward. As far as I know, we don't currently have sort of full access to all the features here in the UK as the legislation tries to catch up. But over in the US, they're running a sort of Full Self-Driving beta where they've got much more of those features available. I'm not sure I'd be rushing to spend this kind of money on either of these options when buying new, but of course if the cars have them when you're buying used, it might be something you want to look out for. If you just want a Tesla, well, you're already going to go and buy one, but most people say the main reason that you should buy one is because of the Supercharger network. There's no doubt it's a really big advantage. Sites with multiple chargers, all usually in good order and working, live status integrated to the navigation system, route planning that just knows where you can charge and where you can't. It'll adjust your route if a site's busy, all that stuff. It's really nice to have. Tesla owners get preferential rates on the Supercharger network, roughly in line with what non-Tesla owners can pay if they pay a £10.99 per month subscription. But of course, Tesla drivers can access every Supercharger site, whereas non-Teslas can only use a handful of them. And of course, one of the big ones people talk about is you just drive up to the Supercharger, plug in, your car already has payment details registered with it, so it just starts charging and you're automatically billed for your use. It's pretty slick. A lot of people talk about build quality with Tesla, panel gaps, interior quality, all that kind of stuff. I haven't driven a Model 3 before, so I can't really comment too much on that side of things. The Model Y I drove at GridServe did seem pretty well screwed together though, although it was built in China. And a lot of the older Model 3s are built in the US. And that seems to be where some of the quality control issues come from, is that the Chinese cars are significantly better, according to some owners. On the whole though, only you are going to be able to describe what's acceptable to you in terms of the sort of build quality and fit and finish. So if you're interested in a Model 3, well, the best thing to do will be to go and have a look at one. To the classifieds now then, and let's have a look at the standard range car first. And of course, it's bottom of the market bingo time. £20,979 will get you the cheapest Model 3 currently on AutoTrader. It's a standard range plus with a whopping 105,000 miles on the clock at just 3 years old. Of course, it's white with the black interior, proper company car spec. I'm not sure I'd be brave enough, but it is half price. They're certainly capable of the miles. There's some around with double that. So the mileage probably shouldn't put you off too much. And I guess condition will be the real key here. It's hard to tell from photographs just how good condition it's in and how well it's wearing the miles. I mean, 100,000 miles isn't loads, but when you can spend not very much more and get one that's lower mileage, I'm not sure the bottom of the market would be the one to go for. Just £3 more would get you into one of these 20 reg cars with 70,000 miles on the clock in black or grey as well, rather than just the free option white. Fair bit more choice at this kind of money. Or you could have this white one at a car supermarket for £23,200, 52,000 miles on the clock on that one. And after that, prices decline steadily with lower mileage, as you might expect. Up to these ones for just under £32,000 with less than 10,000 miles on the clock. I mean, they're barely broken in. Tesla doesn't have traditional dealerships, of course, so if it's approved used cars you're after, you'll have to head over to their website. You're not going to find them advertised on AutoTrader. There's definitely a premium for those cars direct from Tesla. You'd be looking at 35 to 36 grand for a 2021 car with low miles. I think you'd be as well looking at new if you're looking at some of those, especially with some of the current finance offers that are around. On to the long range model then, which I think a lot of people buying a Model 3 will be looking at, given they will have sort of distance work in mind. There's a fair old premium when you're buying one of these new. It's a good £8,000 more. Not so much on the used market though. The cheapest long range I could find on AutoTrader was £22,490. Just £1,500 more than that bottom of the market standard range one we found. 115,000 miles on the clock, and it's white with a black interior, so it's more or less the equivalent. So it's about £1,500 more for the long range, bigger battery, all-wheel drive. Seems like good value to me. What surprised me the most though was that as soon as you go above the very bottom of the market, the lines blur even further between the long range and the standard range. This £23,000 69 plate model with just 66,000 miles on the clock makes some of the standard range cars on the market actually look expensive. Much like with the standard range, mileage is all that seems to separate them in terms of price. One benefit, I guess, of the spec not really being that complex. This £27,000 example in red with 39,000 miles on the clock looks pretty good to me. I was expecting the long range model to be the one that you'd find all the high mileage examples of. You'd expect people buying the bigger battery and then doing loads and loads of miles with it. But maybe they're actually hanging on to them, because most of the ones I see for sale were actually reasonably low mileage, which is a bit weird. There aren't any approved used long range models worth talking about on the Tesla website, at least at the time of filming. But it's worth pointing out there is actually now the long range rear wheel drive model instead of all wheel drive, and that is a fair bit cheaper. This brand new one in stock for £44,230 might well take your fancy, because it's not actually that much of a premium over the standard Model 3 if you're looking at new. Now then, it's time for the performance for those that want to go fast. £24,989 is the cheapest Model 3 performance I could find at the moment. I've actually seen them slightly cheaper with higher mileage, but this one has a modest 85,000 miles on the clock on a 20 reg. £27,198 will get you into this one with just 46,000 miles on the clock. And the black with the dark wheels and black interior isn't really it for me, but I'm sure actually lots of people will want it in that spec. This 27990 car actually claims in the advert that it has full self-driving, that £6,800 option. Although you definitely want to verify that, because I think you're going to get people getting confused over what spec they do and don't have. and confusing the sort of standard autopilot features with either the enhanced autopilot or the full self-driving. So definitely check before you part with any cash. I really like this one. £28,400, 37,000 miles, not white, and it has the white interior rather than the black. Decent combo, although I do prefer the red paint over the grey. I like this one a lot. So that then was a review of the used market for the Tesla Model 3. I'm sure I'll have missed some stuff out here, so feel free to correct away in the comments. I'm far from an expert in all things Tesla, and I know some of you watching will be much more knowledgeable than I am. The idea of this video is more just to give you an idea of what's out there. You also probably want to weigh up whether a new car might actually be a better option for you, particularly if you need financing. As I mentioned in a previous video, Tesla are currently offering 0% APR on the Model 3 on PCP, so this might actually compare favourably, particularly if the used one you're thinking about buying you're going to need to finance as well, because interest rates tend to be a fair bit higher for used cars. Monthly payments do seem quite high on the 0% finance though, due to the guaranteed future values being a little bit on the low side, so definitely do your research and weigh up what's going to work best for you. So let me know what you think. Do any of these Model 3s featured here catch your eye? If not, what else would you buy with the same kind of budget? Let me know in the comments if you want to see more of these videos that take a closer look at the used market and you have a particular model in mind that you're interested in. I'm hoping it is helpful to help you wade through what's out there and cut through some of the bullshit about EV values. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.